Hello everybody, welcome back to Math 1350. Now we're going to talk about Chapter 5, Section 2, Multiplication and Division of Integers. I misread that the first time. I thought it was plus minus. What this really tells us is 15 divided by negative 3. What that means, that's one of the ways you can write it. It also means 15 divided by negative 3. Whenever you multiply or divide numbers with signs, if you have an odd number of signs, let me see. Math 1350, Chapter 5, Section 2. If you multiply or divide signed numbers, count the number of negative signs. If there are an odd number of negative signs, then your answer will be negative. If there are an even number of negative signs, then your answer will be positive, because all the signs will cancel out. So, or we only have one negative, so the answer is negative. How many times does 3 go into 15? 5. The answer is negative 5. Let's see what's really happening here in division. So we have 15 over negative 3. 15 is made up of 3 times 5 and negative 3 on the bottom. So the 3's cancel, so the answer is negative 5. So whenever you have a negative on the bottom, also just bring it up to the top or out in front. Okay, negative 6 divided by negative 3. Negative 6 divided by negative 3. You have 2 negatives, so they cancel out. So all you have left is 6 divided by 3. 6 is made up of 2 times 3 over 3. The 3's cancel, so the answer is 2. Find the quotient. Quotient, just another way of saying division. Negative 8 divided by 4. Negative 8 divided by 4. There's only one negative, so the answer is negative. 8 is made up of 2 times 4 over 4. So the 4's cancel. The answer is negative 2. A. 60 divided by negative 60. To get 60 divided by negative 60. Only one negative, so the answer is negative. 60 goes into 60 one time, so the answer is -1. D. 9499 divided by -59. So we have 9499 divided by -59. There's only one negative sign, so the answer is negative. So it can't be one of those two. So how many times does 59 go into 9499? So let's look at this, what this really means. When we had 8/4, that equals 2. How can we test that? Well, if we take this bottom number, 8 is equal to 2 times 4. So whatever the bottom times the answer equals the top. The bottom number times this number has to equal that. So let's look at the last digits. 9 times what equals 9? 9 times 9 is 81. The last digit is 9, so it has to be, the number has to have a 1 in there. Because we're looking at the last terms to make sure that they equal. Alright, next sheet. A grocery store inventory showed a loss of 80 damaged items per month. How many items were damaged in 9 months? So it's 80 per month. How many were lost in 9 months? So if we multiply by 9 months, the months cancel. So we have 80 times 9. 9 times 8 is 72 with a 0. So 720 items. Find all integers x, if possible, that make the statement true. X divided by 4 equals -44. Remember, it's x divided by 4 equals -44. Remember we said earlier, 8 divided by 4 equals 2. Why? Because if we take this bottom number and multiply it by the answer, we get that. So, -44 times 4. Basically what we're doing is we're multiplying 4 to both sides. They cancel here. So the answer is, there's one negative, so the answer is negative. 44 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So the answer is -176. Find all integers x, if possible, to make the statement true. X divided by -2 equals -30. X divided by -2 equals -30. To get rid of that -2, we multiply by -2 to both sides. -2 cancels. There's 1 times negative times negative is a positive. 2 times 30 is 60. The answer is B. Find the integers, if possible, and make the statement true. x squared equals negative 49. Not possible. Because what this means is what two numbers, exactly the same numbers, equals negative 49. 7 times 7 is 49, not negative. Negative 7 times negative 7 is not negative. It's negative, negative is a positive, so it's not possible. And even if you're raised to a power of even exponent, it can never be negative. Determine whether the statement is true, false, or sometimes true. If x is positive and y equals negative x, then x y squared is positive. It's greater than 0. Okay, let's do what this means. So we know y equals negative x. So we have x, y is negative x squared. Notice I put that in parentheses because that's the only thing that's squared here. Negative, since the negative is inside the parentheses, it means this. Negative x times negative x is greater than 0. Negative, negative is a positive. So x times x times x. Yeah, if x is positive, all positives, yeah, that's true. It's a very important concept. Negative 3 squared is not the same as negative 3 squared. Order of operations. Exponent is more important than multiplication. This one is negative 3 times negative 3. That's what that exponent tells me to do. Negative, negative is a positive. 3 is 9. What this one says is negative 3 times 3. So be very careful if there's parentheses or not. Determine whether it's true, false, or sometimes true. X and y are both integers. Then x plus y equals absolute value. Well, if we have 3 types to look at. They can be positive, negative, or 0. So let's try to find if it's true. Let's say 1 plus 2 equals absolute value of 1 plus absolute value of 2. So 3 equals 1 plus 2. 3 equals 3. So it's true when they're positive. If they're 0, yeah, it's going to work. Problem comes if we have some negatives in there. 2 plus negative 2. Let's say x is 2, y is negative 2. 2 plus negative 2 is 0. Absolute value of 2 is 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2. So it's sometimes true. All you're looking for is one instance where it doesn't work. X and y are both integers, then xy equals negative x. No, what that one says is, let's say both x and y are positive. All right, so we have 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. There's negatives out in front. So absolute value of 3 is 3. Times absolute value of 2 is 2. So that doesn't work if they're positive. Or if they're both negative, because that'll become positive. But if one of them is positive, one of them is negative, then it works. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2 times 3 negative, so it's negative 6. 2 times negative, 3 times negative 2 is 6, yeah. So it's sometimes true. Just plug in some numbers and see if it works. Both positive, both negative, one positive, one negative. You have to try those out. 9 divided by 9 times negative 5. Or is that 9 plus 9? I think it's plus. So, what we look at here is order of operations. Can we do anything inside the parentheses? No. There's no equation. So, are there any multiplication divisions? Yep. Right here. Positive times a negative is a negative. 9 times 5 is 45. 45 is bigger than 9, the answer is negative. So now we subtract them. 45 minus 9 is 36. So the answer is negative 36. Nine plus bracket 2 times negative 7, close bracket. We have to do inside the brackets for special operations. We can't do anything inside there because all it is just a negative 7. So 2 positive times negative is negative. 2 times 7 is 14. We can't do anything else inside the brackets. So we have a positive and a negative. That becomes opposite signs, so it's negative 14. 14 is bigger than 9, it's negative, so the answer is negative. 14 minus 9 is 5, so the answer is negative 5. Absolute value of negative 16. Divided by 2 minus 10. Absolute value of negative 16 is 16. Inside parentheses, 2 minus 10, 10 is bigger, so it's negative. 10 minus 2 is 8. So you have 16 divided by negative 8. Only one negative, so the answer is negative. 16 divided by 8 is 2. The answer is negative 2. Negative 1 to the 93rd power. 1 to any power is 1. So the answer is negative 1. Same thing here. Because you have to do the exponents first, there's no parentheses. 1 to the 42nd is still 1. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. So it's negative 1. This one, you have to always do the exponents first, if there's no parentheses. So it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. The answer is negative 16. Now, but this one's not going to require negative 2 to the 7th power. So it's negative 2 times negative 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, negative 2, negative 2, negative 2. Since we have 7 of these negatives here, the answer is going to be negative. This is odd. There's 4 of those, so the answer is going to be positive on this side. And here's the plus sign. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64, times 2 is 128, and that's negative 128. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So negative 128 plus 16. Opposite signs. 128 is bigger. So 128 minus 16. Oh, it must be a division then. So 128 divided by 16. So we know it can't be 1 or negative 1. Answer is negative, so it can't be positive 8, so it has to be negative 8. Simplify. 3 times negative 8 p squared. You can't do anything inside there, so we get rid of the parentheses. 3 positive times negative is negative. 3 times 8 is 24 p squared. Negative 24 p squared. This is just a distributivity rule. Remember, we talked about this in the properties. Whenever you have a coefficient out in front of parentheses, multiply it. So a times x is ax. A times y is ay. So 9 times t is 9t. Positive is positive. 9 times 2 is 18. 9t plus 18. So 6 plus 10, 7t plus 2. Can't do anything inside the parentheses, so if you get rid of the parentheses, whatever's in front, we have to distribute inside there. Positive times positive is a positive. 10 times 7 is 70t. Positive times positive is a positive. 10 times 2 is 20. Combine like terms. So you have 70t, 20 plus 6 is 26. So 70 plus 26. 4 minus 4 times 3w minus 2 plus w. Can't do anything inside parentheses, so we have to get rid of it. Negative times positive. Negative times positive is negative. 4 times 3 is 12. W. Negative times negative is a positive. 4 times 2 is 8. Now we combine like terms. Negative 12w plus 1w. Opposite signs. 12 is bigger, so it's negative. 12 minus 1 is 11. There's a 1 in front of that w. 4 plus 8, both positive, so it's 12. Negative 11w plus 12 is A. Six plus 2x, 6 minus 2x. Okay, this is what we call the FOIL technique. Whenever you have two binomials, two terms, Everything in this first parenthesis has to multiply to everything here. So let's try. Positive times positive. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 positive times negative is negative. 6 times 2 is 12. X. So that takes care of that number. Now, the next one. Positive positive is a positive. 2 times 6 is 12. X. Positive times negative is a negative. 2 times 2 is 4. X times x is x squared. Whenever you multiply or divide terms, it changes the coefficient and exponents. Whenever you add or subtract, it only changes the coefficient. Now combine like terms. Whenever you get rid of parentheses, always combine like terms. Negative 12x plus 12x cancel out. So we have 36 minus 4x squared. Factor. Factor is just the opposite of distributivity. Remember, distributivity was this rule. Factoring goes the other way. What do they both have in common? An A. Once you get rid of the A, whatever you have left goes inside the parentheses. So here, what do they both have in common? They both have an X in common. There's a plus, so plus has to go there. If I take out the X here, I have a Y. If I take out the X here, there's a 1. Because you always have to be able to go the other direction. X times Y is XY. X times 1 is X. So if you ever factor out something by itself, there's always a 1 there. So the answer is B. Alright, I hope that helped everybody. Good luck.